In C#, a string is an object that represents text. We already learned about the char value type in a previous lesson. A string is a reference type that internally stores text as a sequential collection of char objects. Object-oriented programming in C# is the focus of another module. However, the string type is so commonly used that we want to learn it sooner than later. We already used strings when we used the console.writeLine method to output data on the console. Let's take a closer look at it. We define a variable of type string and message as its identifier. We then assign a value using double quotes and end the statement using a semicolon. Next, we use the console.writeLine method and provide the message variable as its argument. Previously, we did the same with value types such as integers. While that also worked, it internally converted the value of an integer to a string before printing it on the console. Whenever we have a text between double quotes, it's a string literal that can be used wherever a string is accepted. In C#, the keyword string with a lower s at the beginning is a keyword for the system.string type. The string class provides many methods for safely creating, manipulating, and comparing strings. The string class also offers an empty field to use when we want to mark a string as empty. The / character is used to mark characters as part of a string instead of part of the code syntax. If we, for example, want to include a double quote in our text, we need to use the \. Otherwise, it would prematurely end the string definition. If we want to use a \, we need to escape it too, leading to a double \. This is commonly used when defining strings that contain file paths. Another option would be to make a string verbatim. We can use the @ symbol in front of a string definition. This definition means that we do not have to escape potentially parsed characters within the text. One of the most used properties of a string is the length property. It allows access to the number of characters in the string. Let's print the length of the file path variable on the console. We can see that the file path variable contains 7 characters. When we want to combine the text from 2 string variables, we can use string concatenation. The plus operator between 2 string variables produces a concatenated version left to right. For example, we have a first name and a last name variable and want to combine them into a full name variable. We also want to include a space. Consider the following line. String full name equals to first name plus double quote space double quote plus last name semicolon. Interpolated strings are defined by the $character and include interpolated expressions in braces. One of the advantages of string interpolation over string concatenation is improved readability and maintainability. We can use variables or any other valid C# expression in interpolated strings. For example, let's implement the full name variable we created before using string interpolation. We define the variable and start with the $sign before double quotes. Then we use 2 interpolated expressions, both using the variables defined before. Using this approach, the space between the first and the last name looks more like a natural part of the full name definition. We are not limited to a variable, we can also define expressions directly in interpolated strings. Let's for example write the result of 5 times 7 in the console. As you can see, 35 is printed on the console. We can use any expression in interpolated strings. It will be evaluated at runtime. We now know 2 different methods to combine strings into a single string. But what if we want to do the opposite? The substring method allows us to take characters from an existing string. The first argument is the start index and the second argument is the length we want to extract. As we learned before, a string is a collection of characters. Let's look at this example. We want to take the first 5 characters from the full name variable. We use 0 as the start index and 5 as the length. Let's see the result in the console. String is an important reference type built into the .NET platform. It's so important that it has its own reserved keyword in CSharp. A string internally consists of a sequence of characters. We can combine strings, split them, and access their length. Those are, from my experience, the most used operations when dealing with strings. We will use them over and over again throughout this course. There are more advanced topics and features around strings. However, they are situational and you don't need to worry about them right now. If you come across a situation that you don't understand or want to look into it more deeply, check out the official documentation page, which is a great starting point to deeply dive into C# strings.